What were the 2 or 3 key takeaways that we had from this session?
Sure, let's see. I would say that there are more specifics for what you can use for each kind of pest. So we have for squash bug, you can use the cedar ash. For rabbits, salt, pepper, and chili. Good for preventing them from nibbling on corn. Smoked cow and horse manure for grasshoppers. If you have red and black ants, you could use lemon or lime juice, put it on a string, put the string in the ground, or use a handful of white flour. You suggested weeding, that weeding can reduce bugs. Harvesting corn pollen in the morning. For black and yellow bugs that eat the leaves from grapes, you said you can grind something, put it in a bucket, and throw it on the leaves. I'm not sure what it was, though.
Grind, I think it's got the little leaves. They come in. Yeah, you grind it, and then put it in water. Maybe even overnight. That'll get it stronger. The more you put it in there, and the more grind the powder you make, it'll make it stronger because of the odor. It's got real strong odor.
The cedar.
Cedar
And
leaves.
also, if anybody has any problem with snakes, we've had neighbors that had problems with snakes. Snakes had try attacking people in our area. You use deer root is a good one. When we're irrigating, I put a lot of that in my that way I know rain, snow, fall, the deer herb is in the ground, and then when the sun comes up, it gives that smell out to where there's no snakes there. Even with your animal, the beto the same way. I even have them in my in the horse corral or sheep corral. I tie them, tell them to take care of my animals, and also you might even grind it and put it in your horse trough or sheep trough water. And when they drink the water, you know how you were breathing. If we have a Navajo taco and use a lot of onion, we can breathe onion. The same way with the sheep. When they're walking around, they probably, my brother says these snakes can smell miles away. So if our sheep and horses have that, because that I know of Navajos, if a snake attack your sheep, you should get away, do away with it, kill it. Even a horse, you're not supposed to house it.
Deer root.
Okay. We talked about the small green and white worms at the end of the cob, and we said it's probably not worth it to try to deal with those. For prairie dog-looking chipmunks that eat pumpkin leaves, you might want to have a sacrificial crop so that they don't eat the corn. For cucumber beetles, just the article that you mentioned, foster beneficial insects, delay planting to avoid when they lay their eggs, use cover crops, cover young plants, use thick mulch, bring the crops off the ground. You can use bait and sticky traps. We talked about how to deal with birds. You mentioned using a paper owl that flaps in the wind, mirrors, or any kind of reflective surface, placing plastic bag or newspaper over your melons, or using the ribbon from an old VHS to make the humming noise. Dealing with snakes, we just talked about using the dry deer root. And a different question was what can Dene Inc. do to help address integrated pest management? And that was to have an expert in the area come at the next roundtable, and perhaps to test store-bought pesticide against traditional methods and other home remedies to see what works.
Excellent job, Michelle. Thank you so much. Yes.
There's one thing, I don't know if Rosemary wants to share this or not, but the skunks.
Oh, okay. This is dreadful,
Hire a skunk.
Yes, hire a skunk. My grandfather, we used to go out there and we would see our melons being chewed off or eaten, or even our corns. It looked like somebody nibbled on it all night long. Yes, you can kill a skunk and then reuse that, or even a rabbit. You can use that. You put it in a bucket with maybe even a 5-gallon bucket again, and depending on how big of an area you need it, you might need to use that same animal in a couple of days. When it's spoiled, the juice from the spoiled animal skunk, you put it on the corn or melons. They can't be bothered with that. They won't ever bother.
Do any of you keep
It stinks, but it's worth it.
dogs or cats in your fields to keep away?
Dogs, we had a lot of problems with dogs and coyotes. You will see this biggest melon that you want to probably pick out till tomorrow or 2 days, and it's gone overnight, or they just gut it and
So the dogs are a problem, not a solution.
yes.
Okay. Unless you can find a dog that doesn't like melons.
What we do is we just rinse it off now. We just rinse the whole thing off. We're not worried about it.
All right. I think that was a very productive session. Let's go on to farmers markets and farm to table. And Tina?
Well, Danette Inc., we're working with different organizations to bring farmers markets opportunities to different areas, communities of the reservation. So one of the things that we would like to talk about is what you're selling, the saleability of your product. And there's many different areas where you can work to sell your items. And one of the most unique things about the Navajo is for us to be branding our products as Navajo from northern Arizona, organic. It's culturally relevant, traditionally relevant. It's good for our people, our communities, economic development. So what we want to discuss today is what ideas do you all have for branding your products? What have you done in order to sell your products? And I think, like Mary Lou's grapes today is an example. She doesn't have to twist our arms. She doesn't have to talk us into it because we already know what her product is. We're familiar with the area where it's from and the quality of what she has. But one of the things that we'd like to discuss is talking about what each person sells, how they sell, and if you were to sell it within the local communities, or if you want to take it to a further market within the state, Flagstaff, maybe nationally or internationally. What all have you done? Any takers?
What are the issues?
I don't think anybody's gone that far to sell except I think she's the only one that's been selling.
So Rose has cornered the market. And then Mary Lou and Audrey.
Sometimes you take your, whatever you go, or corn, things, even melons and that type of things, you take it to maybe like a flea market. But the flea market, people will charge you to sell the product. So there must be a way, but without having to pay for it, because sometimes the fee will take a bunch of what you want your product to cost and that type of thing. So I don't know how you would go about it, but if you take it to a place like that, you're charged for a space or that type of thing, which cuts into your profit.
Do you know if St. Jude's is going to be charging for their...
Well, I hope not. Well, some of these communities, the chapter houses, wanted to take over, just growing up here in the area, the chapter houses said we'll organize a flea market area. And then after a while, they decided it was a funding revenue source, so they started charging. And then they actually start turning the tables on the very people they're supposed to be serving at the farmers markets. And but with the farm to table and the farmers markets, there's different folks that are applying for grants, like St. Jude's. So I don't think they will be charging farmers, but also I think it's a good thing for Natal Danette Inc. to be bringing people together like this, where each community, the growers, the agricultural people in that area, can approach the chapter or like just down in Curly Valley, Rose is just selling right off her farm now. You know, she's got the signs up, and she'll be selling her produce right off the highway. But it's not feasible like for you guys because you're so far off on a dirt road. And you know, I would even look at setting up right next there to the dinosaur tracks, you know, and that'd be a great market for you. And within the organizations like this, you could start pooling together resources to make signs and put out the word and network among yourselves like this. But it all takes involvement like that.
Okay, to me. Usually, I would say most of my customers are from quite a ways: Kayenta, Red Lake, Minded Valley, Shiprock, a few Tubicidians.
We have a lot of seeds. Every time we eat a good melon that tastes good, we take the seeds from it and then we just dry it out, wash it and dry it. And so we have a lot of seeds.
We may want to buy some from you next year for our clients next year.
I wanted to ask a quick. I just wanted to expand a little bit on what you were saying about the seeds. What we want to do, I guess we could work with your organization, is to start a seed bank, because what happened with us when we were starting to, I guess, do our planting, was that all these relatives of ours, they had these little baggies of seeds, and they said, well, we don't know what this is, but you know, we must have saved it because it tasted good or something. So it's just, we have a lot of people like that in our family that have these little seeds saved here and there. So just starting that seed bank, how to preserve them, what's the best way to, I guess, what conditions are ideal for those, and just learning about all that.
Also, our way of preserving those seeds is just drying them and putting them in a jar with holes in it. That's the way I've been saving the seeds that we get, and they have been really doing good. You know, they grow pretty good.
Well, I think one of the most important things, and I think we all know this, is that we're unique in the fact that we have land, plentiful land, and we're not starving, and there's a strong interest in keeping the culture. And I think one of the things too is that we're economically depressed, but we also have food stamps for the people that are really low income. And food stamps is something that is depriving our own children of the ability to go out and grow their own foods. And therefore, we see a continuing cycle of diabetes, obesity. And I think with the insurgence of education, grant monies, nonprofits coming in, Johns Hopkins, and all these different programs, I have some hope that we can make some inroads in fighting these physical and social diseases that our people are coming up against. And I think we're lucky in the way that producers and agricultural people now can really tap that market as native, organic, and traditional.